What's up, guys? Hugs, not drugs. So I'm going to tell you about my friend Ryan. Ryan is the same one that when I came to Maine when I was 27, I hung out. I haven't seen him in a while. I'm like, hey, Ryan, let's hang out. And he's like, all right. He's like, I got to go on a date. He's like, you want to come with me on my date? And in my mind, I'm thinking a date, that's a personal thing. Why would I come with you on your date? Like, this is a woman you might potentially marry. I don't want to mess things up for you. Little did I know so I go with him on this date, you want to call it a date, which is more, we go over to this girl's house who, when we get there, she's completely wasted. She opens up the door. She's got 3 kids sleeping upstairs. She's got dogs, and I mean, it looks like she's married and like the husband is like gone. That's what it looks like. I don't know. But we go in and they make out, and we're drinking, and anyway, so that's over. Next day, Ryan's like, hey, would you mind coming on another date with me? I'm like, another date? Like, okay. So we go. I don't even remember. Like, my memory is so foggy. I just remember meeting somebody else, picking up a girl, and I don't really remember, but he ended up dropping her off, and then he's like, hey, could you come with me on one more date? I'm like, dude, how are you going on all these dates? Like, you're only 5 feet tall. And these girls, these are like really good looking girls, like with careers and stuff. I'm like, what is going on here? And I knew that he had met, when he was 19, he had met this girl, Lindsay, on Yahoo Chat. And back in the day, when you'd go into a Yahoo chat room, you could pick, like, it would be about sports or just random funny memes, and you'd join the chat room. And when you got in the chat room, you would type in, hey, and you would write 19, male, California. And you'd write everybody else, hey, ASL, which meant age, sex, location. And ASL, that was like, because nowadays, everything is done, you type in your zip code and it just brings up your zip code. Well, back then, there wasn't like, you couldn't just type in your zip code. It wasn't like that. The internet was, you just had to go to a random chat room and type in ASL and then hope that people were from your area. And sometimes you get lucky and sometimes you wouldn't. Wow, that camera's really blurry today. So yeah, you'd go into these chat rooms, you type in ASL. Well, he ended up meeting this girl, Lindsay, who was like in the area, like an hour away. He ends up meeting her, and they ended up having a kid together. And so that was his start with like online dating, and that's the way online dating used to be. And so when he's going on these dates, it doesn't even cross my mind that it's online dating. I have no idea. But I say, like, where are you meeting these girls? Like, how are you getting all these dates? He's like, oh, the app. I'm like, well, what app? Show me. I want to go on a date. And so he shows me that it's Plenty of Fish, and so I'm kind of like looking at his messages and just kind of like watching what he's doing. And so I create a profile, and I'm like trying to like get a date. And no, like, I can't get anybody to even talk to me. Like, I can't, like, and so I start asking him, like, what do you do? Like, and he starts saying, all right, you gotta get a good picture. Like, you have to have a good picture, and then you have to, like, do these certain things. And he had it down to, like, a science. Like, how, like, guys can, like, go to a bar and, like, pick up chicks? Well, Ryan was like a master of getting on an internet chat room and being able to like meet anybody. And when I say anybody, this dude, Ryan, he can, all right, if he put together like a seminar, some like online dating coach school or something, he would be number one. He's got more experience on online dating than anybody I have ever met. And I've known a lot of people that have done online dating. I myself have done a ton of online dating. That's how I met my fiance now. But Ryan was just on a complete different wavelength. You know how some people can like play a video game? For instance, they'll play Halo, right? And they're like the top ranked player in Halo because it's like a sixth sense. You get on the video game and you're just good. You know how to aim, you know how to shoot, you know how to reload. You're very good in the video game. Well, that's the way. And Ryan was good at video games. Actually, really good at video games. He could master any game. But when he gets on Plenty of Fish, he just masters. Like, he knows what women like, he knows what they don't like. And one of the things he would tell me is like, hey, if you say something wrong to a girl, hold on guys, I gotta exit. He said if you say something wrong to a girl and like you offend her, he says that's it, she'll never talk to you again. Even if a year passes and you try to talk to her, you've messed it up at that point. Like in real life, if you say something that offends somebody, you can like patch things up, do something funny or, make up for it. But in the online dating scene, if you mess up something through chat, it's like it's over. And so that you got to be real careful. You can't like offend anybody like immediately. I'm trying to think, what are some other pointers that he gave me? You never want to be sexual. Like, you meet these guys and they're really good looking guys. Like, if they were to go to like a club or a bar, they could get any girl in the club. But you put them on online dating and they can't get the ugliest girl to talk to them. They can't get any girls. Why? Because they're overly sexual and they say very like perverted things, and it turns off girls. So that what Ryan told me was, he says you never want to like talk sexual. He says you want to just treat them like a normal person, treat them like a friend, and be funny, and just talk to them. And that was one pointer that really stuck with me, was because I'm not like a sexual person anyway. For one, I don't want to say weird sexual things, so that was already natural. Like I wanted to have a normal conversation with these girls, so that was the easy part. So never say anything that's weird. Just be normal, be yourself. And then he said, and this is another pointer he gave me. He says some girls will get on there, and even though they're on the site, they're too afraid to ever meet somebody. So even though they're on the site and like they talk about meeting up, these girls are so scared to actually meet somebody, or they're married, or they live with their parents and their parents won't let them get out or something. I don't know. There's all kinds of like different circumstances about why like a girl will not meet you, but he says there's some that just won't meet you, so you can't waste your time with them. You gotta move on and talk to somebody else who will meet you. And so that was another pointer. But guys, I want to do a whole segment just with Ryan and online dating, just so you guys can see how knowledgeable he is with online dating. It's amazing.
Use the right lane to take exit 46 onto CA 76 toward Oceanside.
So we are, was it 18? Yeah, so we're 18 years old. I had just gone through my my DUI. I had gotten arrested and I didn't have much going for me. And Ryan calls me and says, hey, if we sell my PlayStation and we sell my computer and we sell everything in my room, do you think we can have enough money to start new lives in Mexico? I'm like, dude,
use the right 2 lanes to turn onto CA 76 toward Bonsall.
I said, dude, we don't speak Spanish. How are we going to start new lives in Mexico? I said, we could probably get bus tickets to California. He's like, let's do it.
Turn right.
I'm like, all right. So we end up selling all of his stuff, got money, and took a Greyhound to California, or actually to Vegas, and then my parents picked us up in Vegas. So this is the thing. I wanted to leave Maine, but like, it was more that I was doing it with my friend, okay? I was excited to be, hold on. I was excited.
Stay in the middle 2 lanes.
Gosh. I was excited to be leaving Maine, going to California with my friend. It was like, okay,
turn right onto College Boulevard.
we're doing this together. We're gonna go out there. We'll start this new life in California, but like, we're working as a team. And that's what I was excited about. I was excited about going to California, but I was doing it with my best friend, Ryan. I was so happy that Ryan was with me and we could attack life together. And, because we didn't know anything about life. We're 18, 19 years old. Like, we don't know nothing. We're idiots. So we get to California, and Ryan pictures California as palm trees and sand, which it is, okay? But at the time, because we were going to live with my parents, the plan was we go with my parents, and then we'll get jobs, and then we'll move out. That was the plan. Well, at the time, my parents lived in 29 Palms, California. Now, if you know anything about 29 Palms, it's in the middle of the desert. It's this small little town. They got like one grocery store. There's a video store where you rent movies or DVDs. There's one Walmart, and it's just desert. Like, if somebody has a house, like, your property is going to be gigantic because it's just all sand, cactuses. It's 100 degrees year round, never gets cold. But it's desert. It's not palm trees. It's not your typical picturesque California lifestyle, right? So we go to my mom's house, and Ryan, all he wants to do is he just wants to buy crack. I've never even really smoked crack before. And so we end up finding some crack, and Ryan doesn't like California. He pictured something else, and keep in mind, he's really young, you know what I mean? He's never left his parents' house, so this is, and I get it, it's not easy. And so after we're in California 3 days, and keep in mind, Ryan's dad has a barbershop. He makes good money. This is back when he had the barbershop. Now he's homeless and they live in the car right now, but this is back when his dad had money. So Ryan, 3 days after, calls his dad and says, "Dad, I want to come home." And his dad says, "All right, son, I'm gonna send a shuttle. What's your address? I'll have the shuttle come pick you up, and we'll get you a plane ticket tomorrow." And Ryan's like, "Hey," he's like, "I called my dad, and I'm going back to Maine." I'm like, "You're going back to Maine? Like, we just took a Greyhound across America. Now you're just gonna leave me out here in California by myself?" Guys, I cannot tell you how bad that hurt. It was, I felt so bad. I mean, I love my mom, my brothers and sisters are there, my stepdad, and I love them, but like, I needed a friend at this point. I needed somebody with me, and this was we had just sold everything in his house to come out to California. I'm like, "Well, when are you leaving?" He says, "Oh, my dad's gonna have a shuttle pick me up tomorrow." I'm like, "Tomorrow?" I'm like, "Man, I said, I get it, man. The desert, I don't like the desert either. We're gonna move to the beach. We're gonna get jobs." And he's saying, "I'll come back out," and he's saying it's money. Like, when he gets more money, he'll come out and we can rent an apartment. I'm just like, "Yeah, right." And so I was really sad. Not only was I sad at this moment, this hurt me for years, guys. Years. Because I actually didn't. So when Ryan left, we were 19. When he left, when we were 19 years old, I did not see him again for 8 years after that. Because I didn't go back till, I went back to visit when I was 26. I seen him when I was 26 or 27. We'll just say 20. I think it was 27. So 19. 20. So yeah, 8 years. So I didn't see him for 8 years when he left. So he left. Boom, he's gone. Right? Like, man, you know. So at about 28 years old. And this is, so I went to Maine, saw Ryan. I was there for my uncle got cancer, so I went back for a month. So then I come back to California. I was, like I said, just visiting there for a month. Come back to California. I don't know how long I had been back in California, maybe 6 months, I don't know. But I'm back in California, and I get a call from Ryan. He says, "Hey dude," he's like, "I've got to get out of Maine. I can't live here anymore. This place is toxic. I hate my parents, and I hate Maine, and you know, you're living in," and I was living in San Diego at the time that he called, and he's like, "Do you think if I get myself a plane ticket out there, can I come live with you?" And what do you think I'm gonna say, bro? This is my best friend, and I love Ryan, right? At this point, I had forgave him. I said, "Dude," I said, "no problem." I said, "Let me just talk to my mom," because I was living with my mom at the time. I said, "Mom," I said, "Ryan is having a hard time. He wants to change his life around." And what I was thinking, because I was a Christian at this time, and I'm thinking, okay, Ryan can come out. We can bring him to church, show him about Jesus, and maybe he can give his life to Christ and turn his life around. That's what I was thinking. Guys, keep in mind, I hadn't seen Ryan for 8 years. Even though I'd seen him that one time, like we didn't hang out very much. So he decides he's going to come out to California. I get everything set up for him. You know, I'm like, I'm looking for jobs where he can work. Like, there's a place called Best Towing, and it's a towing service, but they sell the cars. What they do is they make the keys, like, so cars come into the lot, and they can't just sell the cars because they belong to people. But if they sit there for 30 days, and the people don't come and pick up their cars, well, then they become property of the towing company. And then, so 30 days has to go by, and then if the people don't come pick them up, what they do is on the Tuesday, the guy goes around and makes keys for all the cars, because they just tow them, they don't have the keys. So the guy makes keys on Tuesday. Every car that he's going to put out for sale now has a key. You can turn it on. And then on Wednesday is the auction. Or it's not an auction. It's on Wednesday is basically he opens up the doors and people just come in, and it's nobody knows anything about the cars. You just kind of, you can test drive it a little bit. You can look under the hood, but it's kind of like sold as is. You can get lucky or you can not get lucky. I got lucky there very many times, but so I had this place lined up for Ryan so Ryan could buy a car. I didn't have a car at the time, so it was pretty cool. Like, Ryan had enough money to buy a car, so like now we're gonna have a car. So Ryan is on his way. After I spoke to him, it was quick. I want to say it was like 3 days later he was here. So I go with my mom, and we're driving my mom's white Colorado Chevy truck. We drive it to the airport, and guys, I am so excited that Ryan's coming. Like, the amount of excitement I can't even describe. I am so happy because I don't even have any friends. So like, this is like my best friend's gonna be here. Like, man, this is great. I've known him since we're 4. Like, you know, I forgive him now for what he did at 18. You know, leave me there. But yeah, so I'm excited. Shoot. So we go to the airport, and I'm at the terminal watching the plane come in. You know what I mean? It's a beautiful day. Ryan's here, man. Like, my life's gonna change, man. My buddy's here. Like, we're gonna attack this together now, right? Because during the whole 8 years, I struggled with alcohol, ecstasy, lots and lots of Klonopins and Xanax, The biggest thing though was gambling. Like gambling had really destroyed my life. Even though I was a drug addict, I was more a gambling addict than I was a drug addict. Gambling really takes its toll. So, and I don't want to expose Ryan to gambling. So when Ryan comes out, it's like, I don't even want him to know about casinos because I'm trying to like guard him from that type of life. So he comes out and he gets off the plane and I see him, he gets off the plane and he looks terrible. And he, like, I'm like, and I start talking to him and immediately there is just this wave of liquor that is so strong, right? Like, so when he starts talking, immediately I know, okay, he's had some drinks on the airplane. And I asked him, he's like, yeah, I took some shots on the airplane, but this is deeper than some shots on the airplane, okay? He, like, his body is just, I mean, the alcohol is just pouring out of him. Like, it was so strong. And I knew that this wasn't just a couple shots. This was you could feel it. It was a lifestyle of alcohol, right? And so I'm thinking, okay, yeah, you know, like, we're not going to be doing this alcohol thing. You know, I'll let him sober up for a couple days. So he comes back and I'm just like, Ryan, you got to sleep, you know, why don't you just sleep? He couldn't even really hug me and was happy to see me. He was so wasted, right? And my mom is like, this kid's coming back to live in my house? Like, I feel bad for my mom. Because I wasn't expecting this. So anyways, he sleeps, right? And I'm thinking, okay, he's gonna feel hungover, but at least he'll be normal when he wakes up, right? So he sleeps. He wakes up at 6 a.m. and he says, hey, do you have any Diet Coke? I'm like, oh yeah. I said, I'll go down to the store and get you some. Yeah, no problem. So I walk down the store, I get him some Diet Coke, I bring it back, and he dumps out 3/4 of the, it was a 20-ounce Diet Coke. He dumps out 3/4 of the 20 ounce, right? I'm like, dude, you're dumping it all out. I just got you that. He's like, no, it's all right, it's all right. I'm just like, okay, whatever. So there's like this much left of Diet Coke in the bottle, and he takes his bottle of whiskey.
In 2 miles, turn right onto College Boulevard.
And just dumps all of the whiskey into the 20-ounce bottle to where it's this much Diet Coke and the rest whiskey, right? And just starts, I'm like, dude, don't you want to sober up? Why are you drinking now? He's like, I have to drink in order to keep the shakes away. I'm like, what? Like, and I realize he's a full-blown alcoholic. Like, this is his life, right? And he's doing this. And so during the day, he gets a little bit of energy, you know, kind of like becomes himself a little bit. But the alcohol is just, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't even know. It's so bad. Like, he's not himself at all. So I never got to experience, like, really even like bonding, having any type of like a friendship with him. It was like, you know how I said, like, I'll keep people at a distance. When you keep somebody at a distance, you're like blocking them from getting close with you. Well, Ryan was doing that to me, but he wasn't trying to do it. The alcohol was putting a distance between us from like being friends. So the whole time it's like, it's Ryan and alcohol, and I'm sort of on the outside. And again, man, this hurt. It hurt so bad because it's like, my friend's here, but I can't even be friends with him because alcohol's his friend. And I'm like, it's like 3 people hanging out, Ryan, alcohol, and me. And I'm like, we couldn't bond. We couldn't hang out. And so we end up going down to the towing place. We got a Honda Accord. It was a 2-door Honda Accord. It was a 98? Yeah, it was like a 98 or a 99. We bought it for $700, and man, this thing ran good. It didn't overheat. There were dents in it, and like the AC didn't work, and like I think there was a window that didn't roll down or something. But besides all the little problems, the engine and transmission, man, we drove this thing everywhere. Drove it down to, not to Mexico, but to the border, to Los Angeles. I mean, I think the only thing we replaced was like a tire. Yeah, the Honda Accord was strong. But he's drinking the whole time, and it's just, he's not he's not the same person. Now there was a drug house down the street, and it was like, so whenever like, this is before we got a car, or no, it was after, but he wouldn't always drive the car because sometimes he'd be too messed up to drive.
Use the right lane to turn onto College Boulevard.
So he's walking, or sometimes he walks to the store. We walk through my mom's neighborhood. And I always tell him, I say, hey, you see that house on the corner? Because you have to walk by this house. Like, there's no getting around it. And it's on the corner, and there's always guys, and they look like cool. They're not cool guys, but they look like cool guys hanging outside. Looks like some friends barbecuing, but really these are just hardcore drug addicts. And I told Ryan, I said, hey, Ryan, when you're walking back to the house, I said, when you get to that house, I said, do me a favor. I said, and I emphasize this, I said, walk on the other side of the street. Don't say hi to these people. Do not say hi. Because if you say hi, they'll try to be your friend, and they'll just try to get you to buy drugs.
Right.
But I don't think I told them about like how easy it was to get drugs, because I didn't want them to know. I said, Ryan, I said, whatever you do, I said, just stay away from this house. Don't talk to them, please. Like, it's bad news. Like, please do not go near that house. What do you think happens? I was at the casino. I come back from the casino, or he calls me while I'm at the casino. He says, dude, I'm gonna die. I'm like, what do you mean you're gonna die? He's like, I stopped by that house and I got some meth, and I was doing lines of meth. I said, you stopped by the house? I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, how much did you do? He's like, I don't know, some lines. And I'm like, dude, that's California meth. He's never done meth. Now he's jumping into the strongest meth on the planet, and he's doing lines of it. Like, this stuff is so strong. I'm just like, oh man. He's like, dude, he's like, I have to go to the hospital. I'm like, are you at the house, my mom's house? He's like, yeah. I was like, is my mom there? He's like, no. And I look at the clock. I'm like, dude, my mom's gonna be there in like 45 minutes. I said, look, I said, do this. I said, go in the room. I said, shut the door. I said, do not let my mom see you, okay? Because my mom had made a comment. She had said, if you guys start doing drugs, like she was putting up with alcohol because I wasn't drinking. And Ryan was like hiding it. She knew he was drinking, but like she was putting up with that, but she wasn't going to put up with drugs. My mom had said, if you guys start doing drugs, you're out of here, right? So I didn't want my mom to see Ryan doing, and I wasn't doing drugs. I was just drinking a little bit. Actually, no, I wasn't drinking. I wasn't drinking. I was just doing Klonopins, but the Klonopins made me like normal. So you wouldn't think I was high on Klonopins because I was mellow. Like, I was really like, they made me normal. That's why I did them. So I tell Ryan, just stay in the room. Do not let my mom see you. Of course, I get a call from my mom, freaking out. I go back, and Ryan tells her, he's like, yeah, I went to the house and I did a bunch of drugs, right? You can't tell my mom, this Christian woman who's never even taken a sip of alcohol, that he went to the neighbor's house and bought a bunch of drugs and did them in her house. Like, that's not gonna fly. So I go back to the house, and my mom sits us down, has a discussion with us, and says, you guys gotta go. You guys have got to leave. And I'm just like what? And so, that day at the casino, I had won a bunch of money. I don't know, but I remember having like $2,000 in my pocket. And I remember thinking, when my mom told us we had to go, I was thinking like, this is kind of this is kind of a good time to go. I've got some money. I can go back to Maine right now. I had a warrant in Maine from a DUI I had never went to court on. So that was kind of like why I didn't want to go back to Maine. So yeah, she tells us we have to go. And we had been there for about 8 months. And I'm really discouraged because the plan was, again, Ryan's coming out here. We're gonna team up. We're gonna get jobs. We're gonna get a place together. Like Ryan motivates me. So I looked at Ryan as like having like somebody really like just be with me and encourage me, and because that's what we did when we were kids. But the alcohol just took over. So Ryan, we were doing eBay. That's right, we were doing eBay, and I had like I was doing eBay, but I was selling cell phones. This is when you could where you could just buy any phone and just sell. Like nowadays, like if you buy a phone, like it can't have a password on it, can't have iCloud. Well, this is back when like if you could just take any phone and if it belonged to somebody, you could just erase it and then sell it. You can't do that nowadays, but I used to make a lot of money just buying phones from random people and just selling them. And so I remember selling a bunch of phones, getting more money, and then having more phones I remember it was a Galaxy S3, and having more phones to go back to Maine with. And that's right. We sold the Honda Accord for I think we sold it for $1,000, or we may have sold it for $800, but we didn't. I remember we didn't lose money on it. Might have made money. I don't know. It was anywhere from $700 to $1,000. So we sold the Honda Accord. Ryan's parents had like sent him money, and Ryan is always real generous with money. If his parents send him $1,000, he'll give me $500. Has no problem. Ryan has always been like that. If he gets money, he has no problem giving me half, giving me all of it. He'll give me all of it to me. He doesn't care. Because he was raised spoiled, and so money, he has no value of money. He doesn't care. To this day, he still will do that for me. And so I remember when I think my mom, or did we? I don't know if we. I think my mom actually bought us tickets. I don't know. So we get tickets and we get a plane to go back to Maine. And again, the plan is, all right, we're gonna go back to Maine. Ryan's parents, so his mom hated me, but his dad loved me. So it was like, maybe I can stay at Ryan's, maybe I can't. But the plan was to go back. Maybe I'll stay at Ryan's, or I'll stay with my dad. But me and Ryan, we're still going to team up when we get back to Maine, and So we get on a plane and we fly into Portland, Maine, and Ryan says, "Hey, Tim, my dad's here. He's gonna come pick me up." I said, "Cool." I said, "Can he pick me up and drop me off at my dad's house?" No, he can't pick you up, just me. I'm like, "Why?" He's like, "Well," he says, "remember the $1,000 that they sent me?" I said, "Yeah." He says, "Well, the reason they sent me the $1,000 was because I told them that you had abandoned me and I was stranded and I needed money, so they don't like you right now because they think you abandoned me in California." I'm like, "What?" Well, I said, "Call him and tell him that I didn't abandon you." No, I can't, because then they're going to want the money back. I'm like, "All right, dude, whatever, man." I said, "Just go." So he left. He went to his house, and I went to my dad's house. Next day, I call Ryan. No answer. Okay, whatever. Call him the next day. I do not hear from Ryan for like a month or two, right? From us getting off the plane. And here we go again, man. I can't even tell you again how bad it hurt to have dropped my entire life to have him come out and live at my mom's house. Gets me kicked out of my mom's house. Now we got to come back to Maine. And he's got resources in Maine. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe he can help me out a little bit in Maine. To then have him abandon me again when we get to Maine, right? Dude, I'm telling you, it hurt. It hurt my heart. And this was the one that really put the nail in the coffin. The other times I'd forgave him, but I'm like, this time, now I'm angry. Now I'm an adult, you know, now I'm 27, 28 years old. Now I'm an adult. Now I'm angry. You've done this 3 times now, man. This is, and so, and I'm not proud of this, but I was mad at him, and this is what I did. So we were selling cell phones, and Ryan had started selling cell phones too, because I'd gotten him into it. Well, Ryan had some cell phones for sale on Craigslist. So I was with my friends, and or not my, these are 2 guys that just gotten out of prison, Wally and Ryan, different Ryan, Wally and Ryan. I made a video about them before. Hardcore, straight up G's, straight gangsters. Like, these dudes, these are some straight, you don't want to mess with these dudes, right? And I had this like cell phone, it was like a cell phone mafia I had going on, where I had people working for me. Like, we were all selling cell phones and stuff, like stealing cell phone, like, just, you know, it was pretty bad. But so I have like this mafia going on in Maine. That's how I was making money. And I see Ryan is selling some cell phones, right? And so I see that, and I'm like, hey guys, I said, there's this guy. I said, I want to take the phones from him. I said, we're gonna set him up. And so what I did is I made a fake account. I contacted Ryan. I said, hey, I said, I want to buy these iPhones from you. I said, I want you to meet us at this gas station in South Portland. I'm gonna buy the phones from you. And so I had these dudes meet Ryan, and they got in the car with him, and they just took all of his phones and ran and brought the phones back to me. I kept the phones, sold them, and I looked at that as revenge for Ryan leaving me stranded. That was like, it felt good. It really did. It felt good to get him back. Like, okay, you want to screw me over? Now I'm gonna screw you over. Now, guys, I've since repented of that. I eventually came clean with Ryan. I said, Ryan, I want to let you know that was me who set you up that day. I said, I'm sorry, and I've repaid him, and I've made amends. I don't feel good about that, but I did. I was angry. Yeah, and I'll be making another story about Ryan. Hugs, not drugs. Palabra.